everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Shankly Gates podcast. I'm David, and we've got a full team today. Kieran, Taran, and Dan are all here. Kieran, how are you, mate?
Yeah, very well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. And Dan, yourself, how's things?
Yeah, can't complain, lad. You?
Definitely can't, mate. Same as you. And Taran, I think it's been even longer since I've seen you, to be fair, mate. So nice to see you.
How's life? Know, yeah, you too. Nice to see you guys again. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it must be a Champions League final or something. The four of us are together. Now, obviously, there's only one thing that we can discuss: the big game at the weekend. We might touch on a few other bits as well, but the big game on the weekend is where we'll start. And obviously, so much to get into. If you have got any comments, put them in the section below and get in touch and ask us any questions. I'm sure we'll be happy to answer them. I don't know if anyone else is going except Kieran. Is anyone else making a trip over to Paris? No, we're all staying at home. Kieran, talk us through your flight path and your journey.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm just incredibly lucky just to even get a ticket, mate. As you know, many people haven't got one. So yeah, flying out on Saturday morning straight to Paris from Manchester. So gonna probably get to Manchester about 4:00 in the morning or something stupid. The delays they've had. So hopefully getting in there about 2-3 o'clock, make myself down to the ground, and then on the way back, the flights are about £600-700 back. So instead of going straight back, I'm going from Paris to Krakow in Poland, and then from there heading back to Liverpool. But to be honest, I'm getting back for 3:30 on the Sunday. So if all goes well and I land in time, should be able to make my way straight to the parade, mate.
Straight on the 86, straight into town. Yeah, I love that. I mean, so Dan was laughing there and Taran was about your flight journey. I've just spoke to a fella outside Anfield and get on this. I think this is amazing. He's going on holiday with his missus to Crete, but halfway through the holiday, so I know it's the first day of the holiday, he's flying to Crete, then he's flying to Brussels from Crete, and then he's getting a train in and out of Paris back to Crete on holiday, and I was just like, how have you blagged that?
Yeah.
How have you blagged that?
Good lad.
No, fair play, fair play. Right, so obviously, the first bit of major talking points, if you like, is Thiago's fitness, Dan. I'll come to you first. Obviously, he's been absolutely fantastic this season. Yeah. He's been huge in that Liverpool team. Goes off on Sunday. We're all a bit worried. Apparently trained today. Mm-hmm. Was doing a little bit of gym work yesterday behind the scenes. How important is it that he plays on Saturday? Sorry.
Yeah, massively important. Obviously, as you sort of touched upon his quality there, which is something we've all seen firsthand this season in particular, glimpses of it last year, but this year he's been out of this world. And his record, well, our record when he's in the side compared to when he's not, speaks for itself, particularly alongside Fabinho. But I think it's more important, and I've said this for a long time about Thiago, ever since we signed him, really, just what he brings in terms of his experience. Don't get me wrong, this is a vastly experienced squad now. We've played in these big games, but still none of them match. Even James Milner doesn't match Thiago for what he's done. Like on the international stage, Champions League. This is a multiple trophy winner now with Barcelona and Bayern Munich. So to sort of call upon someone that good for a final like this is so important. And that's why I was gutted when he missed the Carabao Cup final. Obviously, that was in the warm-up. And this would be a cruel blow were he to miss it. But like you say, it looks as though we're probably going to strap him up and get him out there. It's an interesting, with all sort of the fitness doubts we've got, if this was sort of like December, they wouldn't play. But because it's the last game of the season, you may as well just go for it.
Yeah, Thomas Tuchel said something very similar before the FA Cup final about Kovacic. He was like, this is the time to take risks. And you're absolutely right, mate, it is, because from a Liverpool standpoint, this is it. But I mean, Thiago has just been named in the Spain squad as well, I believe, for the first time.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Since Euro 2020. So, I mean, you talk about a cruel double blow of missing finals. Imagine missing out on the Spain squad for him. It's massive, isn't it? Taran, for you, how important is Thiago to this team? And, in terms of the midfield, how much do we need him?
Yeah, I think he's everything. I think he's shown how many times this season. Dan mentioned his stats in terms of when he plays in Fabinho and, how many games we win and, how many points we get. But we saw on the weekend that assist that he gets for the Mane goal and how important he is in breaking down teams and just little bits of flair. And you just feel so confident when he's in the midfield and you just know he's going to create something. And obviously when he went off and we still needed, a goal, I think, my heart broke a bit. I thought, God, where are we going to find a goal without his creativity on the pitch? So like you said, We need him on the pitch, and even if we have to strap him up, put him on whatever injections he needs. He needs to be on that pitch, and especially for him, with the Barca links, he'll want to play against Real Madrid, and especially in the final as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, missing the last final, definitely wants to play in this one. All signs point to him being fit. Kieran, big boost to Liverpool though, in terms of Fabinho. He fully trained yesterday and today. Seems to be back, rearing, fit, ready to go. How massive is that, especially if Thiago isn't?
Yeah, you put it on the back of obviously the Thiago news. I think if you had obviously both missing, it really is, a hammer blow to us. But certainly, even if Thiago doesn't make it, even though obviously we've heard the news now, it's still a massive boost to the team. What he provides there, sitting in front of the back four, breaking the play up, just being a calm head as well, which, at times, certainly when Thiago went off, we did struggle with, against Wolves at the weekend. So having him in the sides massively, we have both of them, that just increases our chances again. And again, as Dan alluded to earlier, certainly the record of them two playing is we win so much more than we don't. So, if hopefully we have both of them, if we have both of them in there, then we stand at every chance of winning this, mate.
100%, yeah. I know we're all quite excited for the final. Alan Baker certainly is. We've got a few comments here from Alan. He's basically sang the Van Dijk song for us. He's our centre half. He's a number 4. Watch him defend, then we watch him score. He'll pass the ball calm as you like. He's Virgil van Dijk. And he even wrote he's Virgil van Dijk twice. He finished the song off properly. And then the Egyptian king is staying put. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate that, mate. Let's look ahead then, Dan, to the team that obviously Liverpool are taking on. Real Madrid. Somehow they got through the semi-final. 89.5 minutes they were out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a massive, Jurgen Klopp said it yesterday, the whole world will be red or white. Most of this country will be white, apart from Liverpool, I think. But it is a massive game of football, isn't it? What sort of task have Liverpool got ahead of them?
Yeah, very big, obviously. But what I will say on that, and you sort of touched on it there in terms of they were out for a large period, that Man City game. And we've gone toe-to-toe with Man City, not only in our games against them, but also in the league. So it just shows you that we're on a very similar level to what they are. And if you watch back that, well, it was more than 180 minutes, wasn't it? It was 210 minutes in the end of extra time. City were the better team for large parts of that game. So if you sort of extrapolate it that way and think that we're as good as City, what can we do to Real Madrid? I think we stand every chance of being the better team. And I think that's why neutrals, in inverted commas, would have us as favourites. What Real Madrid do possess is individual quality. When you look at the likes of Modric and Benzema, Toni Kroos as well, you could probably put in that category. But I'm not sure as a team, as a collective, they'll be able to match what we can do and match our intensity. I think that's a huge part of it, because the quality players I've mentioned there, although they are brilliant, they're all the wrong side of 30 now. Like, we sometimes point towards our more experienced players, not Mill necessarily, but the younger ones, the younger versions, and say, oh, is he getting on a bit? Is he? But then there's another 3 or 4 years on all of them in this Real Madrid side. So I think pretty much everything points towards us dictating terms. We just have to be careful in transitions with likes of Vinicius. I think he'll be a threat. And Benzema will definitely be a threat. But the thing with the Benzema thing is that he's up against Virgil van Dijk. So as good as Benzema is, probably the best centre forward in the world, we've got the best centre half in the world to deal with him. So it's a matchup, So I do think Real Madrid will have moments against us, but for the most part, I expect us to be in command of this game.
Yes, certainly. Taran, for you, do you agree with Dan?
A little bit. I think that, he's mentioned that they've got quite an aging squad, and, they're trying to reinvest in it. But at the same time, they've got players that are just absolutely out of this world. You look at Kroos, you look at Modric, and I think back to obviously a few seasons ago when we played them in the Champions League, and obviously we didn't have our full strength squad by a mile. But even then, the quality that they've got showed, and it really shone. And I think we've seen this tournament that they've got outstanding players, and it does worry me a bit. I think the midfield that they have worries me the most. Seeing that if we don't have our full strength midfield, if Thiago isn't fully fit and he comes off the bench, and obviously Fabinho will just have come back, it worries me to think, the flair and the skill that they've got in the midfield, will they run us ragged? And I think that that's probably been a bit of our weakness in the past few weeks. The midfield looks a bit tired, so they've got enough quality. You don't need to talk about their attack too much because you know what you expect from them, how good they are, how good Benzema is. But yeah, I think we've just got to counter that midfield strength with our own midfield strength and just hope that, we can, like Dan said, dominate the game and sort of limit their attacking potential too.
Yeah, definitely. I think the big threat as well is that every team tries to get in behind us, doesn't they, in the fullback. So having a strong midfield to stop Kroos and Modric being able to pick them passes off would be good. Kieran, here's some stats for you. I'm going to ask all of you this now. This will be the 9th time Liverpool have met Real Madrid in the Champions League. Liverpool won the first 3. They've been winless in the last 5. Obviously, that includes the final defeat in 2018. Can the Reds turn the tide in Paris?
Certainly, mate, they can, yeah. You don't, to be honest, in a one-off final, don't particularly look at, previous games so much. Obviously, the last time it being when they knocked us out in the quarterfinals. A couple of years ago. So obviously the players will have that fresh in the mind, and obviously the most famous one, Kiev in 2018. So the players know absolutely exactly, what they need to produce, and what's going to be out there. Obviously the team's different from those days, but you put all that behind you. You've worked so hard during probably the longest season Liverpool have ever had in terms of games, and to get to this one moment, it doesn't matter who you played in the final. It's all systems go. I just hope we start the game solid, Dave, because we've of late we've become a bit of a cropper early on in games. We've gone 1-0 down early on, the last 3 games. So I want us to have a nice solid start for once, not be 1-0 down after 5-10 minutes like we have in the previous few games. So I'm not sure what type of final to expect. Probably a nervy, cagey one. But a goal could open it right up. But we all know the qualities of Real Madrid, Dave, whether we played them before or not. And players have just got to basically go out there and enjoy it. Don't think about anything that's happened in the past. Certainly Salah might be remembering, the last time we played them in a final. You just got to forget that. Ramos isn't playing. No one's, a lot of different players, and they should have full confidence based on what they've done this season to go and get the job done, mate. Yeah,
certainly. It seemed that way as well between them. Dan, for you, can Liverpool end that run of winless games against Real Madrid?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm very confident, I must admit. I'm fully aware of the threat Real Madrid pose. Their comebacks, people are suggesting that maybe it's sort of written in the stars that they're going with it because of the way they've come back into the previous 2 games with Paris Saint-Germain and City. But for me, yeah, credit to them for doing that. But at some point, that luck's going to run out, potentially, if you want to call it luck, because coming back into games late on like that, you can't keep doing that forevermore. Very good side, absolutely no doubt about it. La Liga champions, you know what I mean? Let's not take nothing away from them. But for me, I still believe us and City are on a different level in Europe right now. And I think that shows on the weekend.
Yeah, it certainly does. And Taran, do you agree with Dan? Is it time now Liverpool ended that winless streak?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a bit of, we'll mention a bit later on, about of revenge that needs to be served up here. I think all the players remember Kiev. I think Salah particularly, but also, the likes of Henderson and Van Dijk as well. So that real core of our team still remembers that. And I think just because of that, the experience and just the desire to win, I think will bring us through in the end.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when I seen that the winless in 5, I quite like stats like that when we're going into big games. It's almost like it's our time to put that to bed. It was kind of like the Villa one at the weekend when people were saying they hadn't won in so many against the top 6 and one against Man City, and you're thinking, okay, and it nearly did happen, but obviously, it never. But yeah, so I think if we can just as you just said, just get on it quickly, press them, dominate early on, make sure they don't get much of a foothold of the game, because if you allow players like Toni Kroos to just have time on the ball and pick his passes, he'll just kill you. So you need to be right on it from the start, particularly midfield. I'm with Dan, very confident. Just in terms of how we've been playing and what we've missed out on at the weekend and things like that. Jordan Henderson said it, you don't need any extra motivation to play in a Champions League final, but my God, have they got extra motivation. Not only are we talking Kiev, we're talking the Premier League. They're just missing out on that. Obviously, given beat Real Madrid a few times now, you can't ask for much more than that. So very confident. Hopefully those words don't come back to bite us, but I am confident that they won't. Let's just talk about over in Paris, Kieran. Obviously, you'll be there. There was a lot of talk about there being no fan park, and I don't know if I'm right in saying that they're not actually showing the game in the fan park. There's just like a area for people to congregate. Is that right? It's not actually showing the match.
Not too sure on that.
I'm pretty sure it said they're not going to show the game, but there's going to. I might be wrong, but anyway. Are you surprised that there hasn't been more of a, sort of like news about fan parks and things like that, and people to go? Because it's been very, very limited and only just come out this week.
Yeah, I think so. Based on what everyone, obviously we've seen all the videos from Madrid, how absolutely, how bouncing it was. And, I don't recall there being actually any trouble over there at all. I might be wrong there. I don't recall any trouble. And surely that'd be great, for Paris to sort of get in on that. It was, it was great for the city of Madrid. Certainly, it's a great city anyway, and as is Paris. But surely you want to encourage more. Whether they're worried about potential trouble or not, I don't know. Obviously, two massive sides in European football, but it's not just us. Madrid are going to bring up, a shed load of people over from Spain as well. But I'm a little surprised there isn't a lot more on. Obviously, there is there's that gathering you're saying happening. I got an email from Liverpool about it, so I'll forget into Paris a bit early in the afternoon. I'll probably wander down and go and check it out, certainly. But yeah, we all know there's going to be thousands and thousands of Reds there. So clearly it's obviously a security issue, isn't it? Over that's the only reason I can think why they haven't done it. But I suppose it's up to them, really, isn't it?
It is. Like, Danny, are you surprised that there haven't been more sort of advertising things and get-togethers? Because have they missed out?
Yeah, perhaps. Like Kieran touched upon, that it could be a security thing. So obviously we've seen a lot of issues in France as well as in the Premier League. This season just elapsed, really. Probably more so France, actually. If we thought we had it bad over the last few weeks, earlier on in the year, France was chaos in the stands, wasn't it? So maybe they're wary of that sort of stuff. And I wonder whether there's COVID implications as well still going on out there, because I know people have had to be quite aware of sort of the restrictions in terms of travel out there and checking up, because they've still got more restrictions than we have. So I wonder if there's gathering issues like that maybe in a city centre that come into play. The only other thing that crossed my mind was the fact that they weren't originally hosting it, were they? It was supposed to be in Russia, I believe, wasn't it?
Petersburg,
yeah. So I just wondered whether maybe there was sort of a turnaround thing, but they've known for a while now, so that probably shouldn't be the case. But yeah, obviously, listen, they have missed out in terms of, like Kieran said, like a business sense and a sort of an occasion sense as well, I suppose. But they might have weighed up the risk and reward of that. Like I went to Napoli, and they'll do anything to make sure you don't gather in big crowds, for the reasons of trouble, etc., etc. So whether they've took a similar viewpoint and they want people to be spread out across the various bars in the city, that might be seen as a safer option, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I would have understood that more if it was City. I think there would have been a lot more trouble in Paris if Man City would have made the final.
Yeah.
But with Real Madrid, I don't foresee much trouble unless they caused absolute murder in 1981. They buried them, and Paris are just like, no, we're not having that again. Taran, for you, mate, obviously we're not going, but if you were, you'd want to go to a fan park. Do you think that's put some people off from going?
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of people, especially when it's a final, if they can't get a ticket, obviously Kieran mentioned how fortunate he is to get a ticket. So there's going to be thousands of other Liverpool fans, who wanted the ticket and wanted to go. So they'll just want to be there to be, enjoying the atmosphere and, being in and around the occasion. So I imagine they'd be quite disappointed that they can't, be part of that to some extent. But I do agree with Dan mostly. I think that the security issues at French football scene, I think when we saw like the scenes at the Euros final, I think that's just set people on high alert, especially in high-profile sporting events. I'd say, maybe it's to do with fans from England that's sort of added to it, I guess, and that's probably caused a bit more tension towards, the situation as well. But I think overall it is a bit disappointing in terms of, if your team's got to a final like that, you want to be there and you want to be experiencing it to the, the full extreme. So yeah, I definitely think it's quite disappointing there isn't more going on.
Yeah, it almost plays down the showcase a little bit, doesn't it? With the final itself, it's almost like we've all seen what happened in Kiev and Madrid, the fan parks, and those videos and the memories will live on forever with many people. So it's a bit sad, but look, they've got one on eventually, so it's not the end of the world. Let's get back to the game itself, then, Kieran. Team selection. I mean, obviously we've spoke about Thiago, but midfield three. We'll start with you with the midfield. Where do you think what midfield three might we see, assuming Thiago may be fit?
Well, I think obviously if they're all fit, for me, it's quite an easy one for me, and it's Fabinho, Thiago, and the captain Henderson. I think that has to be the three. There'd be no budging for me from that. If they're all fit, I think looking at it, that has to be the front. You've got the club captain has to play. These so number one. And then you say, for me, the best of the two midfielders, as we've spoken about, not just the record together, individually, they're just two fantastic players, for what they give you. Obviously, you've got the other option. You've got Naby Keita, James Milner, Curtis Jones. For me, I wouldn't consider either, any of them if the three are fit. If Thiago doesn't make it, or Fabinho doesn't make it, then you look at it. Probably the next one in, I would probably say is Naby Keita out of them, for me. But to me, I don't think that they're at the same level as Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, that midfield. So hopefully, when obviously the team gets announced hour and a half before, mate, that's the three I see on the team sheet.
Yeah, certainly. Dan, I'll ask you about the front three. I mean, that's a very difficult one as well to predict, isn't it? You've got obviously Firmino coming back to full fitness. Salah now looks like he's shaking off that little injury from the FA Cup final. So effectively, everyone's basically fit. Who are the three that you expect Klopp to go for?
Yeah, everyone is fit, and there obviously are decisions to be made there. Because obviously you mentioned Firmino there. Jota's form much earlier on this season would have warranted a place in the conversation at least. However, I just think based on form at the minute, it has to be Salah, Mane, and Diaz. I just don't see a different way of going with it, quite frankly. We all know how good Diaz has been since he came into the side. His pace is electric. He could cause Real Madrid problems. Salah has been the best in the world for periods of season, not in recent weeks, in my opinion. But listen, we all know what he's capable of, and God knows he wants to do it on this night. So, got to be in. And Sadio Mane, best player, sort of second half of the season for me, for Liverpool. Coming up with crucial goals time and time again. And he's been outstanding. And another one who seems to really want it. Not that the others don't, but we're talking sort of Ballon d'Or shoot-off potentially as well between him and Benzema here. So it's all there in front of him, let's put it that way. So, yeah, although they're great to have options, and I wouldn't be dismayed if I've seen Firmino or Jota, but it's got to be them three for me.
I think I agree, and I think by the nodding heads around us, I think the lads agree as well. And I think it just says volumes that we'll have plenty of options on the bench if we do need them, in the likes of Firmino and Jota, etc. So Taran, that only leaves the back four, but I think we know probably three of the back four potentially. Yeah. Do you expect probably Matip or either Matip or Konate to start this game?
It's a tough one because I think both of them seem to struggle against Wolves. I think they were a bit shaky. Obviously, Konate makes a mistake for the first goal, and Matip seemed to, just seemed to be a bit all over the place, being sort of the senior one in the defence. So I think it'll be a bit of a toss-up. But I think knowing that there's Vinicius and knowing that there's Benzema, Klopp prefers to go with Konate when he knows there's pace in behind and he knows that there's obviously a big, bulky striker. So I could probably see Konate playing in the final. I think Matip's played really well this season, but I think for me, Trent's going to need all the help he can get on that right side, and I think that Konate's just got that extra bit of pace that you need to just get back and help him out. So I think for me, it'll be the normal back four, but with Konate and then next to Van Dijk.
Yeah, I mean that's so harsh on Joel Matip because he's been outstanding, and obviously Ibu Konate's been great as well. I don't think he's lost a game yet, has he? But it's so harsh on Joel Matip. I am inclined to agree. Just based off the training yesterday, Van Dijk and Konate seem to be sort of paired up. Not exactly, but when they had a little bit of a small-sided game, they were together. Matip wasn't. And then when they swapped, they were still together. So again, very harsh on Joel. But yeah, that's what you get when you get a load of top centre-halves. And obviously, yeah, we expect Robertson to play left back and Trent to play right back. I'll leave myself the easy one, goalkeeper. Now, Alisson, obviously. Although I will say again, yesterday, Gallagher made some fantastic saves in training yesterday, I've got to say. What'd you say there, Talon?
Give Adrian a game, might as well.
Yeah, well, why not? Why not, mate? Throw him out. He hasn't played yet, has he? He needs a medal. He needs a medal. Dan, you made me aware of some comments on social media. Obviously, we've heard about Salah talking about revenge and things like that, and Benzema and Valverde have sort of slapped back at Mohamed Salah. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that and what sort of your thoughts were when you seen it?
Yeah, so we've seen for a few weeks now, pretty much since it looked like we're going to get Real Madrid, that Salah, I think he called it out straight away on Twitter, didn't he? And said he wanted that game. And ever since, when asked about it, he's not been sort of... Usually the players' media answers are quite coy and quite like, oh, no, we'll just take every opponent as it comes. Salah's just been like, nah, bullish. I want Real Madrid. Want to get revenge. And he's followed that up this week. And Karim Benzema and Fede Valverde at Real Madrid have both kind of alluded to the fact that that's disrespectful. And they're not respecting the name and the football team that Real Madrid are, because Salah's saying... When you obviously use the word revenge, it means you're confident of beating them, and that's the way you're looking at the game. And they've basically accused Salah, like I say, of not holding Real Madrid in high enough esteem. I think Fede Valverde particularly mentioned the badge of Real Madrid, which is an interesting viewpoint after they put on shirts with the number 14 on the back after beating Manchester City. To suggest that we're now not respecting them is an interesting way of going about it. But yeah, for me... And what they're trying to do, essentially, in my opinion, is create some sort of siege mentality. In terms of, obviously, you don't have to get motivated for the Champions League final, but they haven't got the likes of Ramos there anymore to sort of fire them up. So potentially, they're looking to get fired up in a different sense by sort of pinpointing Mohamed Salah in the dressing room and saying, "This fella thinks they beat you already, so go and get him." That's the way it's come across to me, because his comments haven't been particularly disrespectful. He's just saying, I really wanted to play Real Madrid because of what happened. He's not said, we're definitely going to beat them. It's going to be this, that, and the other. He just wants the game, and you can understand why. So, yeah, I don't find it particularly controversial from Salah's point of view, but I do think, like I say, Real Madrid are just trying to stoke their own fire a little bit.
Yeah, I don't find them comments controversial at all. I don't think he's being disrespectful to Real Madrid by saying he wants revenge. He wants revenge because of what happened the last time. It's not that they're a bad team, and he just wants to play them again because they're a good team. He just wants revenge. Kieran, what do you think? Is he being disrespectful, or are Madrid being a little bit touchy?
Yeah, I think they're being a bit touchy. I don't think it's disrespect at all. You know, football speaks all, really. Real Madrid, quite clearly, the most successful team in Europe in the last 10 years. That can't be disputed. 13 European Cups in all. So I think Dan could be right there. They're just trying to get themselves psyched up for all this, because I think it's been that's the way they want to twist it, for them to say it's disrespectful. It's not. I completely understand why Salah said that. Completely understand the reasons. Everything that happened. Obviously, going off in that first half, you're going to be ultimately disappointed, aren't you? Thinking you might not get back into get to another final again. Obviously, we did the year after and won, but Champions League finals don't come around that too often. So I can, completely understand where he's come from. And I think they are going on a bit too much about it. There's, I think they're just taking a comment out of context and twisting it to, just make a story in the media.
Yeah, certainly. Taran, I want to come to you on just something else very quickly. Dan mentioned there about players' media answers and Salah being very, very bullish in his answer about wanting Real Madrid. Someone else who was quite interesting was Sadio Mane. He was asked about his links to Bayern Munich. In a complete contrast to Salah saying he doesn't want to speak about it. He sort of said he didn't want to speak about it, but said, ask me again after the Champions League final. So we're assuming something has happened, whether that's a new contract or he's going to go somewhere else. For you, what do those comments mean? Is he going to stay or is he going?
I think it's mildly concerning, if anything. Mane's always sort of been quite level-headed, I'd say, and he's been quite straight-talking in terms of whatever it was. Before, in the past, he's always, pledged his allegiance to the club when people have come picking. And I think this is the first time where I've ever heard him speak and thought, oh, God, this isn't great. And I think that the arrival of Luis Diaz hasn't been great for him. Obviously, he's turned a corner in terms of his performance and everything. But I don't know. It's kind of worries me. I think the fact that there's been comments said about Salah, and essentially saying that he's staying, or sort of the focus has been on his contract. I think there's sort of not been that much emphasis on Mane's, and I think when you think about it, when you go from coming to the club and being the star man when he first arrived to then, having to switch your preferred side of position, and then having, someone else sort of take all the accolade and fame, that would probably hurt you as a professional, as much as, they're close and we're a close-knit team. I think that would have hurt him. So it does worry me a bit that he's making comments like that. So you've just got to hope that it is just a contract extension. But even if it isn't, he's been a great servant to the club. And, we can't overestimate how amazing he's been, for us, because he's just been outstanding. So, even if it is his last game, to win it against Real Madrid will probably be a great send-off for him. Hopefully it isn't, though.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. That'd be nice. Obviously, Danny's got links with Julian Nagelsmann, formerly of Leipzig, and things like that. Are you concerned that he may be on his way out?
Oh, yeah, massively so. Yeah, I think I like Taryn says. I think he'd be crazy not to be after that answer. Like you said, sort of referencing myself, when they give answers, it's normally quite coy. They don't really want to give much away. This was the opposite. He could have easily said nothing there. He could have said, I don't want to talk about that Champions League game, want to win number 7, etc., etc. Instead, he chose to say, I'll give you the answer on Monday morning, essentially, which is far from ideal. It could well be a positive thing. It may well be a positive thing. Salah said he was staying, which turned out to be a positive, whichever way you look at it. But for Mane, there was something pointed in that for me. There was definitely, it means there's an answer to give, doesn't it? It doesn't mean he's not sure anymore. There is definitely something happening, whether it be positive or negative. So, like you say, just as these Bayern Munich rumours, and I think PSG are coming out as well, you just think, it's one of them, though. I do think at some point, obviously, we have to say goodbye to at least one of them. And we're probably going to need to get some money for at least one of them as well at some point. So maybe Sadio Mane is the chosen one.
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken in the past, haven't we, Kieran, about like the front three and their future, and they all run out of contract together and things like that. But it's still hard, isn't it? Especially like as good as them three have been in particular, and obviously Mane. It would still be very hard, wouldn't it, to see him leave?
Oh, mate, absolutely. He's been absolutely first class since he first put a red shirt on. Scoring that goal at Arsenal, right into the top corner. He's been absolutely sensational. He's been part of, easily the best front three I've ever seen. You could look at it potentially, are likely to see. He's been that good. But we have spoke about it all. See, we touched on obviously the start of the season about the contracts and all that, and we all said at the time it was a massive year. And if it's come down to it, Obviously, Salah says he's going to stay if Mane wants to go, and then obviously we've got to let him go. And we what we couldn't afford to do is end up with an Mbappe situation of potentially running a contract. And I know he's re-signed now, but the way our club works and the way our model works, we've got to sell him on basically. So we needed a decision from him, and if this is the decision he has made, obviously nothing's confirmed yet. Then just selling him is the way to go, and that's going to be fantastic for the club because I mean, what price you put on Sadio Mane? That's absolutely fascinating to look at. I mean, you look at if Jack Grealish is worth 100 million, what's Sadio Mane worth? You could put $1 billion, more based on that. So if he is to go, I think we have to have a decision for the club because we have to get the money for him, and it'll be really interesting to see what figure they put on him. Dave, I don't know what you think about that, mate. What figure would you put on him?
Oh God, I mean, because he's not English, you lose value straight away. Grealish is English and he wants to go to an English club. That's why he's gone for 100 million.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to compare to that. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He's 30 years of age. He could still attract a fee of like 70, 80 million easy this summer because he is that good. Obviously, with a full contract and things like that, he gets so much more than that. But yeah, with his age and things, all that added up, 70, 80, maybe 60, depending on who comes in for him. But yeah, very, very sad. Hard to value what he's done for this football club in total. And I'm sure if he does go this summer, we'll definitely have a chat about the highlights of Sadio Mane and how much we'll certainly miss him. Just before we wrap up then, fellas, let's Dan's posed this question, and I love this. And I'll start with you, Dan, for this one, because you've had more time to think, I suppose. The scene is that let's say it's 0-0, Champions League final. It's the 93rd minute of 94 minutes of added time. Who would you like to see score the winner?
Well, I'll keep it short because I don't want to sort of eat away too much time and obviously say too many names for the other lads. Mohamed Salah will be my pick right now. I feel like he needs that moment in the Liverpool shirt. He's been absolutely incredible ever since he signed. His numbers are a joke. But I still don't think he has that one shining, I won that trophy single-handedly in that moment. And I think he deserves that, quite frankly. A lot of the players do. It's a difficult question to pose. It's a difficult question to answer. But yeah, for me, I think Salah deserves that moment, which we look back on in years gone by and say, oh, yeah, do you remember when he won us that Champions League final? He scored in the last one, but we won 2-0 and it was a penalty. So it's one of them. He needs that match winner in the biggest possible stage. So that would be me for him.
Yeah, Rigi's got that from Madrid, hasn't he, for the second one? So yeah, I agree there. Taran, just quickly from you, mate. The scene is set. Who are you picking?
Well, Alisson Becker would be a great one coming up again and sticking his head on it, but I highly doubt that will happen this time. So I'd say Mane now after those comments. I think maybe that might be something to keep him sweet and have him stay. You never know. But yeah, obviously if Dan's saying Salah, then I'll have to say Mane.
Okay, Kieran?
I think they'd probably be my two picks, mate. So I'll come up with a couple of alternatives. I think, you think to the back to the days, the amount of times Gerrard got us through games, was captain. Imagine a last minute goal from a Jordan Henderson. How, absolute, the absolute scenes you'd get from that. Or if we are pushing for a goal, and obviously he got a wonderful reception when on Sunday, didn't he? Did Divock Origi to pop up. In the right place at the right time. We've been chasing the game. He's on the field and he just scored. What an unbelievable send off that would be as well. Whether he get on or not, I don't know. With obviously Firmino and Jota,
I think he's injured,
I think he's missing it.
Yeah. Massive. I know we do get 5 subs in Europe, so there is a possibility he can get on. But
no, he's injured.
Oh, is he?
He's injured, mate. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't read. Oh well, that's broke that dream. So I'll go with Jordan Henderson then, mate. That would I think make a lot of Reds happy. But I think if we're all honest, as long as someone does it, we're not too bothered.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. Taran stole my idea first of Alisson Becker, and then I was like, right, Henderson needs his captain moments, and Kieran took that.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, hard one. But if I had to pick anyone, probably maybe Jota. Because he's gone off the boil a little bit. He comes on as sub. He scores the winner. 1-0. Liverpool win the Champions League for the 7th time. Happy days. I'm
surprised no one said Trent.
I was thinking Trent, mate, but the lads won enough. You know what I mean? The lads won everything.
But imagine how good the goal would be if it was Trent as well.
Free kick.
It's going to be a worldie, don't you? Yeah. He's not tapping anything in.
I was thinking Trent and Robbo, but I thought, they'll probably assist Diogo instead. So we'll be all right. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, as ever. Nice to be back. And enjoy your trip, Kieran, Taran and Dan. Enjoy wherever you may watch it. Hopefully, we'll be celebrating come Saturday night at about 10:30. Hopefully 10:30 and not like 11:30, like the last few finals. But no, safe travels to everyone. Go and enjoy the match, and we'll catch you all soon.